can't stay this cool forever, and that means lawn care season is upon us.
Now, don't let sharp blades or flying debris ruin the entire season for you with a trip to the hospital. It happens more often than you might think. UW Health is launching a lawnmower safety campaign this spring. Dr. Ken Noonan is an orthopedic surgeon at American Family Children's Hospital, and 14-year-old Jon Eno is with us today. He's one of Dr. Noonan's patients. Good to see both of you. Welcome to Live.
Thanks for having us.
So, Dr. Noonan, how common is this?
Well, depending upon the source, across the United States, there's expected to be 5,000 to 9,500 lawnmower injuries in children this year.
Wow.
And if you think about the math, there's going to be about 100 to 150 children in Wisconsin that will suffer some form of an injury from a lawnmower this summer. And that can range from just a burn from a muffler to a catastrophic injury like John had. We know that about 800 children this year will be run over by a riding lawnmower. 600 of them will lose a limb. Lawnmowers are the #1 cause of amputation in children under age 10. And unfortunately, about 15 kids are going to die this year from lawnmower injuries.
Oh, those are staggering numbers.
They're horrific numbers.
And how about stuff flying out of the lawnmowers?
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is the projectiles can be going 100 miles an hour, and you can injure someone in the eye or the stomach. And that's one of the big problems, is that when you're on a riding lawnmower, you can't hear your child in the yard, and you don't know that they're out there. And that's the scenario that happened with John here. And that we have several recommendations about lawnmower safety, one of which is make sure that all children under 6 are in the house, because they run behind the lawnmower, they want to catch up with grandma and grandpa. They don't see them, they don't hear them, they back up the lawnmower, and then they run over the child.
John, that's essentially what happened to you. Tell us your story.
When I was 6, I was at my grandparents' house, and I was following my dad's riding lawnmower. Whenever he normally backed up, I would hop out of the way because that was the smart thing. And one time I got distracted by something. I don't even remember what it was anymore. And he didn't see me, and he ran right over me.
And what happened to you?
I lost half of my toe, and my kneecap completely went off. I could see straight down to the bone.
Oh.
It's pretty brave of you. You pulled up your athletic pants so that we can see your knee. Dr. Noonan, can you explain the extent of John's injuries for us?
Well, the thing about lawnmower injuries in children is that they have lots of problems in the acute stage, but it has a long-term, lifelong effect. John lost his kneecap, which decreases the knee power by about 40%, but more importantly, it also took off half of his growth plate. And that left him with a limb that wouldn't grow or be as strong, and he had to undergo probably about 15 operations, including within the last 2 years, limb lengthening and reconstruction for a deformed leg. Thankfully, he's done very well, and think about John, he's a superstar. So
you're a survivor, John.
Yeah, he pushed through a lot of pain and suffering to have a limb that actually functions pretty well. But he's one of the exceptions. Many children will lose a limb.
So, John, what did you learn through all of this?
Well, I learned it's good to be a smart person and not follow the lawnmower.
Well, you know, though, it seems like common sense, but these are such powerful machines that people really take for granted. You don't realize the power and the force of a lawnmower.
Yeah, we have like 3 recommendations that the American Academy of Pediatrics has put out there, which are common sense, and they're not hard and fast rules, but make sense. If you have a child under 6, make sure they're in the house. Know where your kid is. If your child is less than 12 and they're small and don't have good strength, perhaps they shouldn't be using a push lawnmower. And the recommendation is, unless you have a driver's license or been behind the wheel of a vehicle, you shouldn't be on a riding lawnmower, because these things tip over. Kids don't know to go head down. They go sideways on hills, and that's where we see a lot of the trauma and a lot of the tragedy. And studies have shown that if we could just keep those 3 things in mind, keep your 6-year-old in the house, don't let a 12-year-old push a lawnmower, and don't let a 16-year-old ride a lawnmower, we can cut down on the trauma 75%.
Oh. And some of the old lawnmowers, they don't have the automatic, the push ones, they don't have the automatic shut-off when you let go.
Yeah, agreed. And the thing is, you know, I have a 30-year-old lawnmower, and most of us get one, and they last a long time. And a lot of the safety features that are out there now are not in today's garages.
John, what has your life been like since this? How are you doing today?
I mean, I'm doing pretty well. I have nothing to complain about besides a couple minor problems during football season when I did do football. Don't do it anymore because I don't really want to deal with those. So.
Well, you are an extraordinary young
He's
man.
a superstar. You're right. Jasper. Well, thanks for being with us today, and be safe out there.
It's such an
thank
important
you.
message.
Thank
Thanks
you.
to both of you.
Thank you.
Well, the release of the full mower
39 and
report
90. I didn't move it.
with some